Hey there, and welcome to A Well-Rounded Life, the podcast, a space for creative entrepreneurs seeking an intentional life and biz filled with grace, passion, and purpose. I'm your host, Geomyra. I'm a mama, wife, dessert fanatic, and on the ultimate mission to get you closer to your idea of what it means to live a well-rounded life. Right here is where you'll find curated resources, quick tips, and relatable stories, no matter what season of life you're in. So hang out with me for a bit and let's dive in. What's up, well-rounders? Geomyra here, and I am back with a brand new episode with a very smart, savvy, and inspiring guest. Today, joining us on the show is my friend, sales coach, boss mom, and more, Marva Goss. Fun fact, Marva and I live not too far from each other, and we initially got connected via Instagram. We slid into each other's DM, we met in person, and have been supporting each other ever since. In spending just a few minutes with Marva, you will be blown away by her knowledge and excitement for all things sales. Sales in the creative space, in any space for real, may seem just scary, frustrating, and unattainable for some of us. But have no fear, Marva is here with us today, and she is going to share her tips on how you can slay your sales and grab that coin that you deserve. I'm going to take a minute to read Marva's bio before I bring her to the mic. Marva is a sales coach to service-based business owners that need help getting people to see the true value of their services so they can book more clients. Marva is an Air Force veteran turned business owner that loves helping her clients transform their lives by transforming their revenue. So head over to marvagoss.com so you can learn all about what Marva has going on, because you guys, she has some amazing content that you can use for your business if you are ready to level up. Without further ado, let's welcome Marva. Hey, Marva, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Geomyra. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You know, we're just catching up with a lot going on, kids, school, life, all the things. And so I'm blessed and I can't complain because, you know, things can always be worse, right? Knock on wood, you know, with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for my listeners who don't know you, please introduce yourself to our well-rounders.
Yeah, so I'm Marva. I'm a sales coach for female entrepreneurs that need help really showcasing the value of their services so they can book more clients and make more money. I am also mom, wife, and have a little bundle on the way. So we're really excited about that. And I am an Air Force veteran, which is something a lot of people don't know about me. So in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Yes, congratulations. Cannot wait to meet the little one. And yes, the Air Force veteran thing is something that, you know, we don't see as much on your social media, but you definitely were in there. So.
Yeah, I think I do need to talk about it a lot because that was a big piece of my life.
Right.
As you can imagine, it really molded me. So yeah, I do. I'm going to start talking about it more. I promise I will.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to it. So I know personally how much you love to talk about sales, all things sales. You get excited when we talk about sales, and I cringe sometimes, right? So I'm curious to know, how did you even get into this field from Air Force and all the other things that you've done? How did you even land here?
Yeah. So I left the Air Force because we had my daughter, and my husband is still in, and he's got a very high level, just demanding position, career field. So with that said, we didn't want both of us to have to travel. We want both of us to have to go to like Afghanistan at the same time. We've been deployed at the same time early in our relationship. And you know, obviously, when you have a kid in the mix, it's like that changes everything, right? Like who's going to keep your kid for 6 months to a year? You don't want to leave your child like that. And I just had there were so many stories of women that I talked to who were like, oh, I came back and my baby was talking and walking and I miss all of that. And we're not okay with that, especially not for both of us to miss it. And so we made the decision for me to transition out to be kind of like holding down the fort for my husband and to be like the more stable person at home for my daughter. So I found the world of online business and was like, hold on, this is it. This is what I can do. I can make my own schedule. I can be an entrepreneur. I can be rich. You know how it is, right? Like, and yeah, I was just so excited. I just jumped in like, okay, well, what do I know already? And that was admin work and project management. That's what I did. I did a lot of that for the Air Force for over 10 years. And so I started my first official business doing that, getting jobs on Upwork, random jobs, making $10, $15 an hour, if that, trying to get clients and realize like, I'm not that good at like, I'm not that good at, first of all, I'm not that good at completing anyone else's to-do list. Okay. I can barely get mine together. And then also like, I'm not good at like marketing myself and talking about what I do. How in the world am I going to do this? And so I struggled. I was just on the struggle bus for a long time. From there, I kind of positioned actually, and I transitioned into life coaching because I have a background. My degree is in counseling. And so life coaching just made more sense to me, right? Because I like talking, I like helping people. And life coaching, guess what? I also couldn't get clients. It was like the same thing. I don't know what I thought was going to change. And it was like, I didn't know how to talk about what I did. I didn't know how to really explain to people like what they would get as a result of working with me. Because, that can feel very airy fairy, like, hold on, what? If I need life coaching, I can Google, I can listen to Tony Robbins, I can listen to Eric Thomas, I can go to church. I don't need you to coach my life. And so I found a program that was geared towards helping you make sales. And I was like, okay, maybe that's the missing piece because, like the marketing was all about, this is the thing that's missing in your business. This is the thing that's missing. And it was very true because I took the program. And within like 60 days, my business was completely turned around. I was completely booked out for like months. And that's what I did. I went through like an almost 2-year like certification training process through this lady who's like a top well-known sales coach, went through that certification program, got a bunch of clients, saw, the processes and stuff I was teaching work, and the rest is history. I was like, I'm going all in. I'm a sales coach now. So
and you are an amazing one at that. So I think that's awesome. I actually have a bonus question I want to ask you that just came to mind.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you've taken some courses and trainings, and I know you're a person that will invest in your business. You as a coach invest in coaches. What do you feel has been some of or your best business investment training, coaching to date?
Such a good question. I would say 2 things: private business coaching. And I'll be frank, I mean, anytime I make an investment, I'm also a little nervous too. Like, hold on, people think like, oh, that's super easy for you, but I'm also like, hold on, I want to make my money back and then some too. So, making sure that I'm also committed to the process and not just expecting the coach to show up with all the stuff, but I'm not going to go do anything. I would also say the second investment that I've made that I think has been major has been therapy, because you deal with so many things outside of business, and you don't realize that, like in your day-to-day, you don't realize how much trauma, your history, past experiences, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about money, how you feel about the world around you really impacts your business either negatively or positively.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So having a space to like go and just decompress and talk about my business and talk about, what's going well, what's not going well, and how I was internalizing so many of the results I either was or wasn't getting, and making it something that is really not, making it, oh, well, this must mean I'm not that good, or this must mean the program isn't that good, when that is not necessarily true. But finding out like the way that I was talking to myself and just trauma and life in general, just life, was really hurting me. Not dealing with those things was really hurting my ability to grow my business to even where it is right now. So I would say those are my 2 major, but definitely therapy. Everybody, therapy, please.
You just bless somebody with that, like by you telling people, and I feel like even giving people permission to try therapy, to talk to someone, to feel like you have a safe place. I think that is important for people to know that they have a safe place and that it's okay. In the actual people that are doing, they are seeking outside help, coaches, trainers, therapists, and whatnot. And so the biggest part that you said is all of us have trauma. All of us have experienced things in life, and you and I have talked about that, and we have a lot of things in common there. But you have to deal with it because it will affect your business, it affects your life, your marriage, your relationships, your friendships, and you got to find a safe place so that you can work on it and then push through and then make the money. Because
Absolutely.
that's so.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked in the past about this as well, about validating your offers. And people create things, but then they get excited about an idea. But how do we know that our idea of the course that we want to make or something that we want to launch is actually a good idea and we should put it out there and that people will actually buy it? So how do you even validate your offer?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different options for that. One of my favorite ways to have my clients validate something new is to have them run a beta, of the program. So before you come out, and I know you want to make $1 million, but before you come out and you charge us multiple four figures, for your amazing course that you just put together. But before you come out with that, like, can you test it first and see how are people responding? What's working well with the messaging? What's not working well with the messaging? Are there places even within the program people are getting stuck? If they're not signing up, why aren't they signing up? Sometimes we're afraid to ask people that, but that's something that I've tried to incorporate over the past few years of, like, if I do a launch or something, but sending out a survey and being like, hey, I saw you click the button, but why didn't you buy? Like, what was the reason? And sometimes it's something that we feel is really small, like, oh, I didn't even think about that, right? It may not always be the cost. And so I would definitely say beta. I would definitely say, once you've run that beta, find out why people didn't sign up. Beta doesn't mean free. I want to make sure I make that very clear, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, "Oh, so I should just do it for free." I'm like, "No, boo boo. No, we're not. We're not doing it. We're not doing anything for free."
Marva does like nothing is free. My time, yeah,
It's
we talk about
valuable.
that all the time. Where you're like, no, I don't do free.
It's so true. I can't bring myself to it because you don't value it the same, right? Like, when you go and you put your money into something, you show up differently.
Absolutely.
Right? And you want people that are going to show up for the process and for the results and the transformation that you're
Absolutely.
going to help them get. So they need to have skin in the game too.
Absolutely.
So definitely making it maybe a lower price than what it would normally be, whether that's a couple $100 off or $100 off, whatever. And I think it's great to be transparent too, right? About, like, hey, this is a beta offer. So that means everything's not going to be perfect.
Exactly.
And also by doing that doesn't mean it's got to be trash, but so then if they go in and it is great, it's not always going to be perfect, and that's okay, because if I sell a beta program, I let people know up front, it's a beta, it's not perfect. This is the first round. I want to get your feedback. I want to help you get results. They go through it, but even though it's not perfect, it's great, right? Like, you can tell I really put effort into it. Then people are going to be super happy. They're going to be pleased. They're going to feel like, I should have invested $10,000 in this program. Let me give you this amazing testimonial. And it's so much easier to even sell it after that, right? Because you've already taken some people through. So that's like the main way I tell people you can validate. You can also validate by just doing some basic market research. If there's like a Facebook group you're really active in and it's full of your ideal audience, you can definitely do some market research in there. Surveys work really well. Surprisingly, people sometimes want to help you. Those are the main ways.
No, those are great. I'm actually taking notes as you talk, because these are things that we definitely need to consider so that we are not just selling to an empty, cold audience. And so I think these are fantastic ideas. So beta testing, market researching, surveying, all so good. So good. And so I know you probably get this question a lot, and you probably deal with a lot of this with the clients that come to you. So what tips do you have for someone that is feeling not so confident about selling? Raise his hand high.
We're going to get you out of that, Geomyra. We're
Yeah,
going
I
to get
know.
you out of that. I am
I'm a,
determined.
I'm a work in progress, guys.
A couple of things. One, I need you to be sold on your service or your program or your course before you try to sell any of us.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things people don't realize is that confidence sells too. If I show up and I'm excited about my program, I have put all this time and energy into it. I know it's amazing. I know it's transformative. I know, if you've done a beta, you're also even more confident in it, right? Because
Right.
other people have told you it's amazing. If I show up completely confident that no, this is amazing and you need this in your life, people are going to also buy into that. People are also attracted to confidence. And when you're not confident, people are also turned off by that. It's also like it repels people, because who wants to work with someone who's not that sure about their pricing, who's not that sure about the offer or if it's good for me. So I definitely think spending time making sure that you are sold on what you're selling before you try to offer to everybody else is really important. If you're not sold, you're not sure it's great, then I always say go back to the drawing board. How can we make it better? Right? Like, what can you do? What would you want? What can you do to make it just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing? What would you love to see in a program like that if you were going through it and someone else sold it to you?
Right.
The other thing I want people to really remember about selling, and I think it helps build your confidence, especially us women, because we are adamant about not wanting to be pushy car salesmen. We are adamant about not wanting to make people feel uncomfortable or make ourselves uncomfortable. But if you go into whatever it is you're doing, your launch or a consultation call or a DM conversation, remembering that selling at its core is just serving. And so if I have something that can really change your life, change your business, improve whatever outcome for you, if you're a health coach and you can help someone lose weight, if you are a wedding planner and you can give someone their time back by taking that off of them, whatever it may be, you are serving people when you make that offer to them and they take you up on the offer, right? So by selling, all I'm doing is putting the opportunity out there for me to serve you and to help you get whatever result or transformation it is you're looking for related to what I do.
I love that. Selling equals serving. It's a confidence booster when you really think about, I spent the time to create this thing and I know I can bless someone and make their lives easier. And that is like with the course, the Systems for Your Sanity course. It's legit the epitome of serving. Like, I know I have resources and tools and things that will help other busy moms. Why am I keeping it all to myself? I have a gift that I feel like will help them and their families. I need to show up and I need to serve them and stop playing games and be confident about it. Because the other thing is, you made me think about, like, with when you're courting somebody, you want them to be confident and have some swag about what they're selling, which is their stuff.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want them to be like just in a shell and nervous, even though they know they've got the total package. Confidence. You see someone walk in a room, confidence, it gets your attention for sure.
Does. It's attractive. It's attractive, not just in our personal life and relationships, but it's attractive in marketing too.
Yeah, because my eyes are locked in on the person that shows up smiling, happy, feeling good about it. And that's like when I watch her Instagram stories, I'm like, she knows her stuff. She's confident. She knows she's about to like help somebody make their millions. So
Listen,
but it's true though, but you have receipts to back it up. And so that's important too. It definitely is. I'm not going to buy something from somebody and spend my hard-earned money if they're like, well, I think it's okay. Yeah, this little program I created. Like, no. Get excited about it.
And you just said something so key. I just want to add real quick here, if you don't mind. Because, and this is something that that I cover in Slay Your Sales, the Slay Your Sales course, is language. Because you just said something, you said, I think it's okay. And people do. They say things like, I have calls with people who I want to work with them or I want to get in their program. I'm like, oh, I want to learn more. And they're like, I think it'll help you. And I'm like, don't ever say you think it's going to help
I
me.
know.
No,
Yeah.
I know it's going to help you, right? So it's those things that seem so small that say a lot to someone psychologically. Like, hold on, you're not that sure, because
Right.
I think, or maybe sounds like you're not that sure. So I'm not that sure I'm going to pull out my credit card and invest in your program.
No, that's a great point. And okay, so changing the language, thinking versus knowing, because
Yeah.
we really do know that it will do what we say it's going to do, but we just try to humble ourselves a little bit sometimes, but that doesn't always get the job done. So put your chest out a little bit more and be confident that you've got the gold and that they will definitely take hold to what you're selling.
Yeah.
I
And
love
as
that.
coaches, like we also put too much pressure on ourselves, right? So part of the reason why I think we also use words like think and maybe or is because we feel like, well, I can't guarantee they're going to do the work. And if they don't do the work, they're not going to get the results. Well, these are also adults. Okay. So
Part.
whenever you are making your offer or selling your program, whatever results it is you're talking about, you need to be thinking about the person who shows up, does the work, asks for help, right? So your ideal best student, what kind of results will they get? Not someone who's, going to half do the program and not even log in and look at a module and ask for a refund, because people do that. You get what I'm saying? So you're not responsible for everybody, but you are responsible to give them the tools and the resources they need to get what it is they're looking for. That's your responsibility, not managing grown folks.
That is a great point. And I love how you are reminding us, you said to sell to your ideal best student and not the ones that aren't ready, but the people who actually are ready and they did
Yeah.
spend their money and they did do their research. And I think, that's key, because there are people who just aren't ready and they will buy your program. And those aren't the people that you necessarily created this for. You created it for the people who are ready to make it happen. And so that's such a great point there. And another question that I thought about, because we get rejection sometimes, right? So
Yeah.
does no mean no? Someone, they may not click when they see your newsletter come out with the launch of the course or that offer. Does no mean no? And then if someone tells you no, what steps or things do we need to be doing to maybe just see if the next time they may pick it up?
Yeah. Well, no means not right now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean never, right? Sometimes, and see, this is another thing. This is why another reason why I'm advocate for therapy, because what we tend to do is we make the no about us, right?
Ooh,
And it's like,
that
oh, they're rejecting me. This isn't a good program. I'm not that great of a coach. What was I thinking? I spent all this time. You see, we internalize everything and we take it way too far, when
Mhm.
in fact it just may not be a good time. Right? Like,
Never
first
know.
of all, we're in the middle of a pandemic. People are at home raising their kids like never before, spending more time with their children than they ever have, spending more time
Mhm.
with their families. You know what I'm saying? So much has changed. Our world has changed. But we don't think about that when, or whatever the situation is, whatever kind of personal things they may be facing. We don't think about that. We just think the no means something's wrong with me. And so I just want to make sure everybody knows that a no to your program is not a no to you personally. It's
Mm.
got nothing to do with you. But no does not mean never. No
Right.
just means not right now. And so I'm an advocate for following up, a heavy advocate for following up. If you go to my Instagram page, you will see me talking about following up. As over 80% of sales are made in follow up, and less than 20% of people actually follow up because they're afraid usually, right? And
Mm.
so if the majority of sales are made in follow up, then I need you to be out here following up. And following up doesn't mean, oh, are you going to sign up for the program? No, like following up can be, hey, Jamara, I hope all is well. We had a great conversation last week. I just wanted to check back in and see how things are going and if you'd made a decision yet
Right.
about the program, right? Or, hey, we had a great conversation. Just wanted to check in and see if anything has changed. How can I serve you?
Right. No,
You
you're
know,
right. Because actually last week that happened. I hadn't heard from a client after we had a call, and I followed up and they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I haven't gotten back to you. Yes, I saw your email. As a matter of fact, let me go complete the form now so that they can onboard. And otherwise, it could have just fallen through the cracks. They could have gone on and I could have gone on, and then they might have found someone else. But I was adamant that I was going to follow up with them because I knew that they would be a great fit for the intensives, that I am doing right now. So it works. It definitely works when it's that saying, what closed mouths don't get fed. So you definitely have to you have your face and you're like, yes, absolutely. You have to show up for yourself and be your own advocate in the sense of, speaking up. So I love that. I love that.
Absolutely.
And then as far as like when we should follow up, when is it too soon? When is it too late? When should we be following up with people?
Yeah. So I give a full timeline, like example in Slay Your Sales, but if you had a call or conversation with someone today and they were on the fence or they were, whatever they had to do, right? Check their finances, talk to their spouse, you know how it goes. Check back in within 24 hours minimum. This is the thing, the more time we give people between them telling us maybe or yes, and then them hearing from us again, like the more space, somebody else is going to come in and sell them something else. And it may not even be related to what you're offering.
Or as good as what you're offering.
Yeah. And then this is the other thing about following up. People are just busy, right? Like Geomyra, I go, and you're a mom, so I know you get this. I'll go from making dinner to checking my email to vacuuming the floor to thinking about, you know what I'm saying? A book I want to get. Like we change tasks so much. So it's not always that they just didn't sign up or they don't want it. It could be that they're just busy and they forgot about you. Aside from the fact that we see like a Facebook ad every 3 or 4 posts every time we open it up, right? That catches your attention. There's always something grasping for our attention with social media and just the internet in general. And so because your audience or your potential client has so many distractions in their life, especially if you're working with mothers, because they have so many distractions and things going on, you can't just assume that they don't want what you have or that, they didn't like your product or your service. So definitely follow up at a minimum within 24 hours.
I'm so guilty of that. And you and I, we will text or DM, but then we get distracted. And then it'd be like, no harm, no foul. It's just how life is, especially when you have so many different things going on. But we always make it work. And, that's the thing. Just be mindful that we are all wearing a lot of hats right now and juggling things. So we might need the reminder and to bring it back up to the email chain or whatnot. So
yeah,
that's such an important point. And then for people that are actually looking for leads and people to actually sell to and their ideal person, where should we be looking or could we be looking to find our ideal students and clients?
For one, I feel like people who aren't making the most of social media, I just don't understand. Because there are people who are like, I don't want to post, I don't want to do this and that. Where else are you going to have access to billions of people at one time?
Stop talking to me, Marva. You're beating me up today.
Who could potentially be your next client? Like, where else are you going to get access to all these people? What are you going to do? Are you going to go to a bunch of networking events? Nobody doing right now. Networking events. Listen, you're not going to do that right now. Even when this is over, we don't know how things are going to shift because so many people and companies have found the benefit of doing everything online. So all the events might end up being online anyways. What are you going to do? Send out mailers? Like they're going to throw them in the trash. So how else are you going to get in front? And you're possibly wasting your money. How else are you going to get in front of so many people for free? I mean, of course you can pay to play, but you get in front of so many people for free by just showing up.
Absolutely.
And the algorithm favors you with the more you show up. So I'm gonna need everybody to make sure they get their social media game up. Okay. Whatever platforms you on, you don't have to be on all of them, but at a minimum, go in on at least one. Like go in. Like this is the one that I'm going to spend the majority of my time and focus on. So for me, I get the majority of my leads and clients from Instagram. So I'm spending the majority of my time on Instagram right now because it makes sense. Another place to look for clients and leads is your past clients.
That's such a great point.
Those are great advocates for you. They've already experienced working with you. They've already experienced, being in your program or what it's like. And so sometimes we're afraid to ask people for referrals or to, see, hey, is there anyone else that that's just like you, that's still looking for some assistance? I would love to help them. So yeah, your past clients are like going to be your marketing buddies.
I love it. No, such a great point, because that has definitely helped me in the past. The word of mouth, especially in the DMV market of creatives, is the word of mouth, because I have a connection to some of them because I used to be in the space. And so they'll tell a friend and then another friend. And that has been so helpful. But yeah, the whole social media thing, I love the idea of picking one. You don't have to feel the overwhelm of feeling like you have to be on Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Like, just pick one and go hard in the paint and be good at it. Study it, figure out different tricks and things you need to do to get yourself higher on that algorithm. Such a great point. I love that. Another question that came to mind when I was preparing for this interview is about pricing, because I know some people have different practices and things that they feel works better than another. But when should we discuss pricing? Should it be as soon as someone reaches out, we send them pricing information, or should we wait to get on like a call? What do you feel works best when people are inquiring about your offer and everything that you have? All your offers.
Yeah. So I think it really depends on your audience and what you're offering, because I know people who do both and both works well for them. Right. So I feel like from what I've seen creatives send something out, specifically like a web designer, a graphic designer, or something like that, and they send this out immediately, and it's got their pricing and what you can expect. And that's probably also because it's something very tangible, right? So it makes sense. But I think for people who are offering services like coaching, consulting, things where you're really geared more towards a transformation with the person, not always necessarily something very tangible, I think it's good to have a conversation or some kind of dialogue first. Just because, especially if you're premium, if you are premium, people will see the price sometimes, and that will just immediately scare them away. And so to avoid that, I think it's better just to have a conversation. I'm all about like actually connecting with people anyways. So before I ever talk about, I don't care if somebody messages me like, oh, how much is it to work with you one-on-one? No, we're not jumping in there. How are you? How's your day today? I would love to know about your business, because first of all, I need to see if this is even a good fit. It's like no need in me even telling you the price, and you may not be a great fit for the program or for working with me anyways. So I always jump in, just spending time getting to know people before I do. But of course, I offer more like a transformational type service.
Okay, Marva. So what if we are intimidated or feel that we are just overwhelmed on social media with all the noise and everything happening over there?
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming. I totally understand. I think one of the great things you can do is, I have that timer set up on mine that you can set up through iPhone. I don't know if every phone does that, but it lets me know like, oh, you've been on for 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay, that's enough. Because you can get sucked in. You know how it is. You be looking at some funny video and then you look up and you're like, hold on, an hour just passed. And what did I just do in my life? Right. And so I think it's really good to set boundaries even with your social media. So now, as you probably know, I did a lot of unfollowing. Not that I don't love everybody, and I love chatting. I love when people DM me, but I just realized that I need to get even more focused if I'm going to hit these really big goals. They're going to require a different me. And so that me has to be super focused and not waste any time. So definitely setting boundaries with like, okay, what times am I going to get on? I'm going to post. I'm going to make sure I engage with people. But outside of that, there's no other need for me to be on there.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Marva is the queen of setting boundaries, not letting people steal her time, her joy, or anything else.
Okay.
You probably follow 3 people on Instagram. We still interact, but it's like, oh, she not playing with y'all, because she's limiting the distractions. And I don't think people realize that as adults, we might have to set boundaries the same way we have to do with our children. And social media is one of those areas where we are all getting sucked in, and we're wasting time on other people's pages when we need to be working in our business and being more present on our own. And that's why I found, in the last month, I've been doing social media free weekends, and it just accidentally happened. I just was busy. I didn't post. And then I was like, oh, I don't feel the pressure of having to show up on the weekends on my business page. I have 2 Instagrams, but that then allows me to plan to be more intentional when I do show up. And it's not
Right.
just noise, just me posting or showing up just to say I put something there. But I do during the week, engage, DM. If people DM me on the weekends, I will answer it, but I don't feel the pressure to show up there if I know that Monday I'm going to be ready to go and not just being noisy, trying to keep up. And that's
Right.
you. When you do show up, it's intentional, it's meaningful, it's with a purpose, but then you back to working and serving your family. So that works too. Definitely.
Yeah. Because social media can also be an escape.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you can use it both ways. You can use it as like an escape, like I just want to zone out and not think about anything right now. But then the other thing is also can be a big source of inspiration of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, what other people have accomplished and things like that. So yeah, definitely setting those boundaries.
No, that's a great point. That you decide. Are you going to follow people that inspire you? Or are you going to follow people that make you feel less than? Or are you going to follow people and just be on there and just wasting time?
Right.
That's that. I will limit my hours in the shade room and ball alert so I can focus. And
So to zero point 0.5 per week, okay? Because
right,
look,
yeah, we got
nothing positive.
none, right? So listen, folks, if you're out there just soaking up the noise, it's time to make a shift. It's not
Right.
making us money or making us feel good. It's time to move on. So I applaud you for that. And so on a personal level, what are you saying no to? We just figured out social media, right? In order to say yes to what matters most in this upcoming super exciting season for you.
Yeah. I would say the primary thing I'm saying no to is doing what everybody else is doing.
I love it.
Especially because I see it working for them, right? I've done that before, right? I've gone through and been in someone's program, and it's like, oh, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and it's like, okay, that's great for you, but for the type of lifestyle I want to live, and for my family, and for my mental and emotional health, that's not best for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not best for me to launch every month or every other month. And there's people, especially coaches out there, who do it. I'm
Right.
not set up like that. Okay. So that's not the type of lifestyle I want to live. That's very stressful for me. So I would say definitely just running business the way other people are doing it for the sake of thinking that it has to be done that way.
Right.
When in reality, there's tons of people who are doing it differently. They found a way that works for them. And yeah, we all have like a limited amount of time, energy, and just mental and emotional capacity. And so I have to choose, just like you and everybody listening, where is that going to go? And so I don't think the best use of that is just doing every new shiny thing that's being marketed out there.
Love it. No, I think we're very similar that we don't want to have to keep creating, launching when for us our family is going to come before any and everything else, but we
Yeah.
do know we have gifts and things that need to be put out into the world. And so where can we make it well-rounded and how can we make it work for our family and lifestyles that we want and not feel like we have to chase what everyone else is chasing when some people's makeup is not the same as ours. They may not
Right.
have as many kids or no kids. They may have older kids or, be in different relationship status, and that is okay. So you just have to figure out what works for you and in this season and then make it work and not care about what anybody else is doing and how they're doing it.
Right. Absolutely. Everybody's got different priorities.
Absolutely. That is so true. And speaking of which, what is your definition of a well-rounded life?
Mm. Um, I believe a well-rounded life isn't a balanced life, but it's a life of harmony where like everything is working together to the best that I can get it to, right? So my family life works with my business, or my business works around the family life I have. My relationship with God, obviously, that comes first, but that's integrated into my business. It's not necessarily separate. So everything really working together, because I just personally don't believe in balance. Not saying it's not possible. It's not possible for me. Okay. Let me say that. I haven't found out how it's possible for me, but I found like harmony of how can I keep everything that is really important to me in the forefront, give everything that needs the proper time and attention, the time and attention it needs, and still reach my own goals, right? So that's like everything working together for me. I feel like that's a well-rounded life.
I love it. Yeah, it is. And you can put things down when you need to put them down, figure out if you need to just go harder in other areas. But at the end of the day, it's definitely about working together in harmony. I love that.
Yeah.
So that was such great advice that you gave. And we like to have a little fun on the show, and I like to do rapid fire questions. So
Yeah.
are you ready to dive
I'm
in?
ready. I'm ready.
All right. The question I have to ask all the guests is, you're stuck on an island. What are three things you must have, and you can't take Olivia or your husband? It's got to be three other things that don't include the people that you love the most.
That's fine, because I'd be stressed out worried about them anyways. What y'all gonna eat? Where are you gonna? I'd be so it'd be more stress. So no. Three things. Definitely, of course, I'm gonna say my Bible. I take my iPhone just in case, something worked out. I can get a signal out there. And definitely a really good book, like a really good book to keep my perspective like in the right place. So I don't give up hope.
You could take the Bible and the books and roll them into the phone and then get 2 bonus items.
This is true, but I don't like reading my books on my phone, so it's not going to work.
I love it. So you're a sales coach right now, and you were in the Air Force. But when you were little and someone were to ask you the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your answer?
An entertainer. Girl, I thought I was going to be the next Mariah Carey.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't say I could, but I thought I could. Okay. That's what matters. So confidence, remember? Confidence. But when I was little, I imitated Mariah Carey all the time. My family like literally made me do it, like dance moves, song, everything. And when people would come over, they would be like, Marva, come do the thing. Come do Mariah Carey. So.
Oh, okay. I love it. Karaoke at Marva's. So fun fact, Peyton's middle name is Mariah, after Mariah Carey.
Really? That's cool.
Mariah Carey is my favorite entertainer, singer growing up. And I was obsessed with her, like Beyonce, Celine Dion. But yeah, we couldn't find a middle name that worked for Peyton. And then I'm like, oh, I love that name. It just flows with Peyton. And so here we are. And then Mariah Carey and I have the same birthday. So it just was meant to be.
I love it.
It was meant to be. All right. So my next question is, what is your favorite food?
French fries.
It's
not good.
So you love French fries. It's your favorite food, but from where?
There's a restaurant in Maryland. It was called the Flying Fish. The food is so good, but they have something called boardwalk fries.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're good. They're great.
Closing your eyes thinking about them.
They are phenomenal. Those are the best fries. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go visit it. Check it out. What is a misconception that people have about you, or at least that you think people have about you?
I know this one to be true. Someone told me the other day that I'm very serious.
Really?
Yes. People have told me that, like, oh my gosh, I think you're so serious. And I'm like, you have no idea. But I understand how it can come across that way on social media, right? Because I'm talking business. So I'm like,
right. All things business. Yeah, I get it. What is something that is on your bucket list?
Oh, to go to Egypt and see all of the pyramids. Like, I have to.
Everything. You want to see everything.
Everything.
That's good. We were supposed to be in Egypt for my husband's birthday this year.
Really?
Yeah, COVID.
Man.
Cancel that real quick. What is the nicest thing that someone has done for you?
Oh gosh. the nicest thing someone's done when I was in the Air Force, my first supervisor helped, and her husband helped me get a car. I was like in a bad place, and I got out of a horrible relationship, and the guy had a vehicle and I didn't. Mistake number one. Listen, he had a vehicle and I didn't. So when the relationship, it broke off, I was just like up a creek. And yeah, they were like, they took me around. They literally gave me the down payment. I did not ask. They were just like, we really want to help you.
Wow.
And yeah, and they gave me the down payment. They took me around on like a Saturday to look for a car, and my credit was shot, so didn't get a car the first couple of times. And they were like, oh, let's go get ice cream, yeah, they were like parents. I just
That's not funny,
it was the nicest. It was so kind to me. Like they just took me under their wing. They would take me out to lunch with them and just kind of like mentor me on life. And so I still love them. I still reach out to them to talk to them when I can. Yeah, great people.
That's a blessing. Who are your role models or mentors currently?
Oh, I don't know about role models, but Jesus.
Amen.
It's true though. It's and not saying that there aren't people that I think they've done great things, but they're still people, right?
Following the cross, I get it.
They're still people. They're gonna mess up. They're gonna let you down, right? In terms of mentor, my number one mentor is someone I consider a spiritual mom, and she is just super successful, of course, but I feel like she's successful in every area. She's successful at home. She's successful in business. You know what I'm saying? And spiritually, she's definitely made a lot of strides and somewhere that I want to be. Her level of commitment to Christ and her level of sacrifice to really live a Christian life is really admirable to me. So I would say, when I think about people who are successful or who I want to mentor, I look at their whole life, not just like, how much money do you make in your business? Because your home may be a hot mess, and I don't want that.
Right.
Don't teach me how to do that.
You can say that.
When I think of a mentor, it's kind of like it's a closer relationship, not just like business, but it's like we're kind of intertwine each other's lives. So
because it does though, business and home they intertwine in some way. And if your business is making millions, but your husband wants to leave and your kids aren't safe and they're hungry, like what sense does that make?
Listen, I've heard a lot of people talk about like, oh yeah, I just had this amazing launch and this X amount of dollars and all these students, and my house is a wreck. I've got laundry all over the place. And I'm not saying that we don't all have our moments where we're just like, hold on, got to get my life together. Maybe Geomyra doesn't, because she's just like, she got her life together.
Don't do that. The lies you're telling these people.
But I know I don't. I'm trying to learn from you.
Oh, goodness.
But with that, it's different between having a moment and it's like, this is the lifestyle of my family being on the back burner and my home not being clean and meals not being cooked and people not really feeling like I love them. Because I feel like I started kind of getting into that going too hard mode.
Right.
Probably like 2.5 years ago. And I had like this huge opportunity and my husband was like, okay, so it's going to be us or that opportunity. And I was like, but what you mean? What you mean? We working this out. And what he was saying was, you don't have that much time.
We don't.
And it broke my heart. So I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. I don't care what this business has to look like, but my family's got to be good first.
Yeah.
So that was a wake up call, him saying that. He wasn't saying like, oh, I'm going to leave you. But he was saying like, you're going to have to choose.
Got to make a decision, sis. Like, yeah. No, we've talked about that in the past, that our families come first above anything, and everything else falls in place. I believe if your home your foundation is solid, the other stuff will come, but you at least got to be good there and then add on, but not put the business first and then try to fit them in.
That's what I was doing, child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, Geomyra, too? I shared with someone the other day, or maybe I shared this on, I'm sorry, I shared this on my Instagram stories because I was talking about priorities a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I noticed that when I told God I was completely serious, what I'm not going to do is sacrifice my relationship and my time with you, my commitment to you. And I'm not going to sacrifice my commitment to my family and my home being well run, because those are my two main, these are the things I know that you want me to do. Like being a business owner, for real though, I can start 1 million businesses in 10 years when my daughter's like pretty much grown, right? There's a lot of opportunity, but I won't get this opportunity again to mother a 6-year-old and, you know, have my husband at this time. Like all of that, this time that I have right now is going to be gone at some point. So or even my time like with God, like I'm not going to get these. All I have is this moment right here. So I feel like when I made those decisions, like things started clicking totally differently than they were in the past. And things also became easier because I was like, look, whatever, if this thing works or doesn't work, it is what it is. I have the things that are most important to me.
No, that's so good, because we can start businesses later and do them later, but our kids, they will forever be growing. If you could learn any skill in the world, what would it be?
How to play the piano. I really want to learn. I should make time for that. I started, I'll be real, I started a couple years ago, but it was real hard. And I was like, I ain't doing this.
Let's just wait till the kids get to college and then we add that on. The piano ain't going nowhere.
This is true.
What is your favorite season or time of the year?
Summer. And I'm really sad that it's over. Yes.
Team fall. I am excited.
It's too cold up here for fall. Fall is fall and winter in the DMV are almost the same. Girl, it was 40 degrees outside the other day. And I was like, you know what?
But see, it warms up. So you got to get used to it. Welcome, fellow Virginian.
I've been here for years. I'm not
used to it. What is your guilty pleasure?
Probably junk food. Like candy. I am like gummy bear, all stuff that kids eat that I feel like I'm really too old to be like sneaking and buying and trying to hide from my husband, but I do.
I just bought some lemon heads yesterday and hid them for my kids.
Girl, Mike and Ike's. Yeah, absolutely. I have an empty box here and my husband will see it and be like, oh, I see you got a little something.
You got an excuse right now though. So you're good.
But I do this year round anyways. I devoured this in the car. This is a box of Mike and Ike's. I devoured this in the car. I was like, I don't want anybody asking for any.
This is all mine.
Judging me.
See, I eat my food in private so that they don't ask me for anything, because they sure will. Then you feel bad and then you got to share. And
right. It's like, oh, you have one.
No, 0. Because if you never try it, you don't know what you're missing. I'll be like, you don't want this. This is nasty. You really don't want this. So it works. With my son, my daughter, she hip, but my son is still like, oh, I don't want it. If you tell me it's nasty, you're not going to eat it.
Really? If I tell my daughter it's nasty, she's like, let me see.
Let me try. Oh, man, I love Olivia. All right. So this was fantastic. And you mentioned social media, and Instagram is where you hang out. So where can people connect with you? What's your Instagram handle? Are you on Facebook, website? Where can we keep up with you?
I am primarily on the gram. So you can find me at Marva Goss, MarvaGoss, and come send me a DM. Come chat with me. I love connecting with people.
Love it. Thank you, Well-Rounders, for hanging with Marva and myself today. I know you were blessed by her wisdom and all the amazingness that she left us with. Be sure to connect with her over on Instagram. Now is the time to start thinking about what you will be selling and focusing on as we close out 2020 and move into a new year. Marva mentioned her program, Slay Your Sales, which I highly recommend and encourage you to check out so that you can sell and feel confident in the new year that is just around the corner. If you love what you heard, make sure you drop us a 5-star rating and leave us a quick review over on Apple Podcasts. The details are in the show notes. And stay in the know and sign up for our weekly newsletter via the show's website at wellroundedlifepodcast.com. And lastly, I'm always excited to hear from you, so say hi over on Instagram. I'm at Coach4Creatives. Until next time, stay safe, stay positive, and go slay those sales. Bye, guys. friends, thanks for kicking it with us this week. Remember to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode airs. I'd love it if you leave us a review and share this goodness with your squad. Until next time, seek a well-rounded life and remember to focus on what matters most.